Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Up Sis Talk Show for authors, conversations that connect. This is the place where every day women and men who have self published works get to come and talk about their testimonies through their written work as they inspire you to open up your mouth and share your story. Today is the final day of our holiday author showcase here on Speak Up Sis Talk Show for Authors. And I'm really, really excited about the woman who is in the space today. Lately, she has been making her rounds in the media. She's been on Channel 12, she's been on Channel 6. She is letting everybody know that she has an amazing book of poetry out. And so now she is here on Speak Up Sis Talk Show for Authors. She's also a part of the Speak Up Sis Bookshelf family of authors. So you can find her work on Speak Up Sis Bookshelf as well. And the woman I'm talking about, her name is Ellen Harrison. And so I'm going to invite her into the space right now so that you can meet her and learn more about her work. Hello, Ellen. How are you doing? And welcome to Speak Up Sis Talk Show for Authors, Conversations that Connect.
Hi, Angel. How are you? Thank you for having me in this space.
I
Thank
am
you.
doing well. And we actually got an opportunity to meet, excuse me, we actually got an opportunity to meet at the Our Words Matter Black Author Expo. So I was
Yes.
really happy about that because you won my book bundle.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to have you in the space to talk about your work. So I'm going to move out of the way and allow you to introduce yourself to our viewers and our listeners. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Hey, everyone. I'm Ellen Harrison, the author of High Notes in Poetry, Finding Your Courage. I've been writing this book for about maybe 2 or 3 years, and I finally got it published this year. The book centers around empowerment, motivational. It was inspired by the works of Dr. Maya Angelou, and also it was reflection of dealing with the grief of my father when I lost my father. So I challenged that grief and put it into my writing because writing is therapeutic, and so it kind of helped me through the grieving process, and it started motivating me and empowering me to say yes, maybe this work can help others who's suffering from loss, and can help them feel fulfill their gifts and goals out of life. So High Notes of Poetry is more about empowerment, motivation, inspiration, aspiration, utilizing your gifts to help promote yourself and just help promote others. That's what High Notes of Poetry is about.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And I see you actually answered a couple questions that I was going to ask. I was going
Oh,
to
you can
ask,
ask.
so I'm still going to ask you because
Yes.
maybe you've got some others, but do you have any poetic inspirations, any poets that you particularly like? And I noticed you said Maya Angelou, who's one of my absolute favorites. I actually love her as an author of her fiction and her nonfiction, but she's an amazing poet as well, right? So, do you have
Yes.
any other poets who serve as inspiration for your writing?
I kind of looked into some of Emily Dickinson poems. Her stuff is kind of dark, but mainly is more Maya Angelou. More of my poems are um, to help the human spirit to kind of thrive again, like being a confident woman, even being a confident man, um, persevering through tough times, pursuing your dreams, um, finding your strength to rise. Those type poems kind of relates to what Dr. Maya Angelou um, inspired back in the day. So my poems hope to resonate today. You know, that even though you're going through something, you can thrive again. Um, Life keeps going and life keeps moving, so you have to keep thriving and try to find your um, way back to life, even when you are going through struggles. So Dr. Maya Angelou poems resonate with me the most, and her work is phenomenal, as her poem is Phenomenal Woman.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I don't know very many people who do not love and appreciate Maya Angelou. I'm also a Langston Hughes fan.
yes,
Dream Deferred is one of
yes.
my favorites. And so I love them both, but definitely Maya Angelou is top of my list when it comes to poets. So I am not a person who typically buys books of poetry. I don't know. I guess I'm not a poetry kind of person, although I love poetry. And you are actually the first author, the only author during this holiday author showcase who has written a book of poetry. So I want to talk to you about your writing process for poetry because as a former English teacher, I know that writing prose, writing novels, writing short stories, writing poetry, all totally different writing processes. Do you have a particular writing process for your poetry?
Well, it has to resonate with me first. It has to touch my spirit, and that's when my process begins. I can be walking or um, being at the beach or being in my quiet time, and then the words start coming to me. And then it's anything that resonates with me and connect with me emotionally, spiritually, then I can begin my writing process. Um, then I just let the pen flow, and then I start doing research, um, looking up themes, different themes, and then put my touch on it, and then let the writing begin and let the flow process just how they say do what it do. So to
Let
let
it
the
do
flow
what
process,
it
let it
do.
flow. Yes. And once I get the writing and I'm in my quiet, calm space, the words just start flowing and coming together, and I release whatever I have into me on that paper, and that what
And that's
comes
what
out.
we're gonna
That's
get.
what we're gonna get.
I love it. I love it. So listen, Ellen, we allow our viewers to chime in and join in the conversation with us. Is that okay with you if we greet some of our viewers at this time?
Yes, that's fine. Good.
Ab- Absolutely. So that's what's up. Leslie, how are you doing? Thank you so much for chiming in today. She says, good afternoon. Harold
Good
Bed's Thoughts,
afternoon.
thank you so much for being here today as well. And thank you for viewing on our YouTube channel. For those of you who are watching the Speak Up Sis talk show for authors, conversations that connect via our Speak Up Sis YouTube, I want to say thank you and make sure that you click the subscribe button and also click the notification bell so that you know when we have new videos released on the channel. So thank you so much for joining us today. Harold Bed's Thought says, yes, I was glad to have you both in the building. So Harold Bed's Thoughts is the business that hosted the Our Words Matter Black Author Expo. Deborah Jefferson is the owner. And so she's saying she was glad that we were both there. It was a blessing to be there,
It
Deborah.
was, it was, it was.
Thank you
I had
so
each
much, Dean. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Oh, I was saying it was. I even had one of my someone who bought my book was inspired to try to help one of her, encourage her son to start writing poems. So that event was very, very blissful and helpful. So
Yes, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed myself,
I
met
did
some
too.
amazing people, and
Yes,
it's always good when you can meet readers who've already read your work and go to events where you acquire new readers of your
right.
work. And both of those things took place at that event. So it was definitely an amazing event. And for those of you who are not there, make sure you're there next year at the Our Words Matter Black Author Expo. Hello, Dina. Dina says, good afternoon, ladies. Thank you so much for showing up today and being a part of this conversation. Leslie's Lessons Learned. Thank you so much for joining us. This is another podcasting platform where she invites people into the space to share lots of goodness, spiritual things, entrepreneurial things, and simply life topics in her space. So thank you for joining us here today as well. And thank you for telling us that we look pretty. We
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Yes, yes. So let's get back into this discussion about you and your book. So before we jump into questions specifically about the book, like to know whether or not you've been a poet all of your life. Are you someone who used to write poems in school? What made you decide to write a book of poetry versus nonfiction, which is what many people are writing today, nonfiction works? So, what made you decide that you wanted to write poetry versus like a nonfiction memoir? And have you been writing poetry long?
Yes, well, English was my favorite subject in high school. During all my school years, English was my favorite subject. And recently, my sister class had an event, teachers appreciation event, and I ran up into my favorite English teacher, Mrs. Rambotham, and I was talking to her, and she shared with us that she kept a lot of our um, works when we did in high school. She had a vote of them. And I'm like, wow, you still have a lot of our works? And she said, yes, I can share them with you if you like. So she shared with me some of my poems that I wrote in high school. And I was like, wow. So that was always been one of my favorite subjects. So I started, when I lost my father, I turned back to writing to help, it's like I say, it was therapeutic for me. And so I challenged one of my favorite subjects, and it turned into English, and writing poetry turned into me writing a book to help me, you know, get through the loss. So, and that's how it all began. Just talking to my English teacher, and that was about 2 years ago. So I started writing then and putting these poems together, and she kind of helped me through them, and that's how we got High Notes of Poetry, Finding Your Courage.
Okay, it seems like poetry has just been your thing. It's been your
Yes,
lane.
yes,
Just been your lane. And here's the thing. I think people think that it's easy to write poetry, and it's not.
it's
There's a
not.
skill and there's a technique to it, right?
Yes, it's different techniques. You can have a rhyming technique, you can have just non-rhyming techniques. It's many different themes to writing poetry. It don't have to be rhyming, but it's many different themes and techniques to writing poems. And it has to flow right, and it has to, resonate with readers. So you have to make it flow right. And you have to get the
I
words
agree.
flowing.
I think a lot of times people expect poetry to rhyme, but it doesn't
And it
have
have
to
to,
rhyme.
no, it don't have to
It
rhyme.
doesn't. It can be free verse. It can be haiku.
Yes.
It can be also. It can be lyric poetry, which is something I want you to talk about in just a moment, because I know that your poems are separated into two sort of sections in the book, if you will. And so I'd like for you to talk about that. First, I would like to say hello to Yolanda Gaden. She says, "Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today to Speak Up Sis Talk Show for Authors, Conversations that Connect." Our guest here is author Ellen Harrison, and she is talking to us today about her book titled High Notes of Poetry. So I was taking a look at your book and the way that it's sectioned out, and you've got it in like two separate sections, if you will. Do you mind talking to our viewing audience about how you sectioned off the poems within this book?
Yes, I well, lyrics are a way of music. I did those in separate lyrics because when you go through grace is my first lyric sets of poems. Is that when you're um, feeling that God has you and He gives us grace, and then we transcend into that transcendent space where we flow on our own, but we still have God guiding us. But that's in the transcendent phase of it. So my poems are starting out with grace, and then we transcend to being your best self, being your using your power, getting your power back. Turning those impossible moments into possible moments and making those possible moments a reality. That's your transition period. Um, being that confident woman, being that confident man, being of good courage. Those are your transition periods. Um, when you got going through the grieving process, that's your grace, but then you transcend above and rise above all the things that God gave you grace for. So those are where I felt like it needed to be in a place where you have your grace period and then you transcend above and find your power back. So that's how I
Love
resonate.
that you are writing about grace. I love that you are extending grace into this place of transcendence, right? So not just living in a place of grace, which is amazing because we
Yes,
want
it's
to
great.
always be in grace, right?
Yes,
Um, but also getting to a place where you're standing in who you
you
are
are to be.
with God's grace. So I absolutely love that. I like that your poems are thematic and that you have them sectioned off in that way. It's a beautiful way to approach poetry to separate in themes versus having lots of poems that have all these different meanings that we just kind of put them all together, but to know that there's a structure that you use to create your book. I absolutely love that. Do you ever have people who maybe they understand a poem differently from what you meant when you wrote it? I remember when I was teaching English, I would be teaching the poem, teaching the different characteristics of this type of poem. We would look at the theme and things like that. But almost every student had a different takeaway from the poem. I was like, I don't think that's what the writer was thinking, but it's poetry and people just think it could just mean whatever it wants to mean. So do you ever have readers, you get feedback from readers where they're like, oh, this poem meant this and this and this to me, and you're thinking, that's what I meant for it to mean. Do you ever get that type of feedback from your readers?
Yes, yes, I have. One of my readers, well, you can take courage in many different, forms, but like one of my readers was explaining to me that, okay, I'm at a certain age and, you know, we don't need. She's not saying that she didn't need courage, but she don't look at courage as versus being a seasoned person versus being a younger person. So she took courage as well, I get up every day. I just live freely. I don't, feel like courage is something for a seasoned person because we don't live our life. We don't have to try to go through different things. And I see courage at my age as, trying to, just living one day at a time and trying to, you know, be of grace and let God let us live as long as we could. But I took it as, she said, I think that's more for a younger audience. And I'm like, no, courage is for anyone who's trying to, um, make a movement in life, to trying to build themselves up. So the poem Courage can resonate with anyone, regardless of what your age is, because everybody needs courage to stand forth when you're going through something. So she took it as a different whole point of view about the poem Courage. But once I explained it to her, she said, well, I just took it as age related, but I can see it's not age related. But that was
Do
funny
you
to me. But
do you think that it's healthy for people to have diverse perspectives about your poetry, or do you want them to understand it the way you put it out there? Or are you okay with people having different perspectives? Does it make you feel some kind of way when people understand your poems differently than what your original intent was for it?
no, I want people to enjoy it, first of all. And, if they interpret it the way they want to interpret it, as long as they get fulfilling and meaning out of it, then then I've done my job. So,
Right.
um, however they interpret it, but I was trying to explain to her that it doesn't matter about your age. Everyone needs
Mhm.
courage. I mean, we have to face things regardless of what our age is, and
Absolutely.
we all need strength regardless of what we're going through. So I just wanted her to realize that just because you're seasoned, that doesn't mean you don't need courage. So we
It,
have to
I
stay.
dare I say, we probably need even more courage the older we get. What we're facing looks different, right? It takes courage to continue to live once you get to a certain age. When you stop understanding, when things change so much, and you don't understand the new technologies, it takes courage to learn something new. It takes courage to step into a world with lots of younger people doing different things you have no clue about, right? It takes courage to do
Right.
lots of things. It takes courage to continue living a full life knowing you're closer to the end of your life than you were to the beginning, right? Lots of courage. So I totally agree with your perspective, Ellen. We've got some more guests here, and I would like for everyone to know that they can totally feel okay with dropping you some questions. If they would like to ask you questions about your work, if they would like to ask you questions about you, feel free. Dr. Latoya McElroy is in the building. How are you doing, sis? Thank you so much. She always shows up and she always tags other people into the conversation, which is super cool. Thank you so much. And it looks like she wants to be nosy today as well. No, I simply have on a tinted lip gloss. Okay. And a little bit of eyeliner. So the lighting is just good, I guess. Harold Bed's Thought says, I like how you gave your book a theme, Ellen. I like that too. Absolutely. Harold Bed's Thoughts also says that's how poetry is. The reader has their own interpretation. Absolutely. And I think it's totally okay for a reader to interpret something slightly differently or a lot differently than what you intended. So, considering you enjoy writing poetry, have you considered writing in some other genre? Is this your very first book?
This is my very first book. So yes, I would. Looking into my mother already encouraged me. You gonna write another one? When you can put out another book? I'm just like, well, I'm waiting on God to lead me and give me my inspiration. But right now, I'm focusing on trying to get this one resonated with readers and hope it to do what I, God intended for it to do to inspire and motivate people, empower people. That's what I want High Notes of Poetry to do. Because when you read my poems, they're all of empowerment, courage, motivation, aspirations, you know, living your true living out your true life, giving yourself your utilizing your gift that God gave you. So once I feel like high poetry is settled, then I will begin writing my next book. And I have some thoughts in me about what I want to do next, but I'm still leaning on God and waiting on him to give me that in my how you say that talk in your spirit and let you
That's
know
right.
that it's time to do the next one. So I'm being led by God for my
I
next
like
write.
that. And I think a lot of times nowadays people are so into quantity versus quality. And it's push out a book every other month. And sometimes I wonder how, I'm not going to say how, but are you really focusing on the quality that you're putting out if you're putting out a book every month? Just the writing of the book and then the editing of the book is going to take you a solid month, you know? So I like the fact that you are taking your time, being led with what you're going to, what you're going to put out there, and making sure that what you put out is something that you want to put out, something of quality, and something that your readers want. I think fiction is a little different, especially people who write series and things of that nature, because they've got like this set
Yes,
template, right? And they're following this storyline. But for people who are writing in different genres, that where you don't have that template, it takes a little
it takes a little
time.
time. Yes, it
It
takes a
takes a
little
little
time.
time to get something quality out there. We have a question here. Latoya Dr. Mack is asking, Ellen, how many poems have you written?
Well, High Notes of Poetry got like 67 poems in there, but I have a collection of some that didn't make it in the book because I felt like those weren't in tune with the theme of the book. But I have
Mhm.
some more that maybe probably be in my next one. But I've been writing I have a lot of them.
Got a lot of
I
poems.
have some in several notebooks all over. So I have I can't count, but it's a lot. And I mean I maybe have over 200 poems, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
have a lot
Latoya
of
says
them.
67. That is that, but you know what? I love
I
it. That says that you took time
I did.
to create. You took time to create. I like the fact that you said I have more, but they all didn't make it in the book. Sometimes I read works that I think, why did you add this? Like this doesn't fit. Even if it's not a book of poetry, it's like your storyline is here and then you threw that in there. Why is that character there? Why is this piece of the story here? It's just something sitting there. It doesn't fit. And so I like that you've actually thought about what you wanted to put into this work, and not just, to throw a bunch of just stuff in the book. Harabed's Thoughts has a question. She says, how often do you find yourself writing a poem?
Daily. I mean, I can write a
How
poem.
did I know you were going to say that?
Daily. I can write a poem in a heartbeat. I mean, just the other day I was walking around Odell Weeks and saw the children playing. I was ready to write something about the children playing in the park. So it was
Mhm.
it. I mean, they comes to me, instantly, and just I think this is a gift. Well, I know it's a gift, so
That's
I can't
right.
say I think it's a gift. But yes, I can write a poem instantly. Recently, I had to
Yeah.
write one about my uncle passing. My aunt wanted me to write a poem about him, so I had to come up with something for him, and just that spoke to his, spoke about his life, and um, so I mean, I can write a poem. Like I say, I can write a poem instantly.
When it's in you, it just comes out
It
you.
just comes out.
When it's in you, it comes out you. Hello, Jamika Itson. How you doing? Says another poet here. Jamika is a poet as
Hi,
well,
Jamaica.
and she has a book of poetry as well. She says, slips of paper, napkins, we will write anywhere.
Anywhere. Exactly.
We will write anywhere. That's what's up. She says it's a gift.
Yeah.
Uh, Death, love, and pain definitely are inspirations. Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe you can write a poem about every aspect of life. Poems of joy, poems of sorrow, poems of rage, right? Morbid
Yes.
poetry, dark
Dark.
poetry. Edgar Allan Poe is another one of my favorites. And of course, he's got some darker
He got some dark poems.
he's got some darker work, but it's so beautifully written.
Mm-hmm.
E. Cummings is another one of my favorites. E. Cummings taught me to color outside of the lines with poetry. So I wouldn't consider myself a poet, but I've written some poems from time to time. And I loved learning about E. Cummings. I love teaching E. Cummings. I loved reading his work, because looking at those poems written in all lowercase letters, his punctuation, he experimented with punctuation, capitalization.
Right.
He experimented so much that I thought, okay, like, let's do something different with this stuff. It doesn't have to be a certain way. It doesn't have to sound the same as this poem over here. And the stanzas can be different. It
Different.
doesn't
Right.
have, you don't have to have the traditional, stanzas. You can play around with it. So I absolutely love Cummings, and his work. Here again, reading his work taught me I can color outside of the
Color
line.
outside of the box.
I
Right.
can, I definitely can. So, Latoya says Nikki Giovanni. Yeah, she, of course, Nikki Giovanni was definitely, she's definitely an amazing poet as well. Her voice was so very strong and powerful, and radical. I have to say that as well. She's definitely one that, for me, I was able to say, you can be very bold and radical in this as well. So all
All of
excellent,
it.
excellent poets. Jamaica says, I love the diversity. The only thing that's different from a rap and a flow is cadence. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I think, to me, spoken word and rap,
It's the
it's kind of
same.
the same thing when you add
The
when you
same.
when you add the music, the beats, to the poetry, they become lyrical,
That's
right?
right.
And you kind of get rap and poems. To me, I know some people may argue with me and say, no, they're different. I don't see how
No,
they're that much
it's
different.
a verse. It's a verse. It's the same. I see it as the same.
Right. That's just the way that I feel about that one. So don't get upset with me, all my hip hop heads who
And,
want me to change my thought process about that, because I won't.
but I think a lot of rappers they use poetry as a way of writing, and they just put beats to it. So
Absolutely.
so it's the same.
Absolutely. And
That's
there are
what I
so many.
want to. Oh, excuse me.
No, go
Well,
ahead.
that's why I want to see poetry grow more because we have a voice out here that people need to hear. We can have more poetry shows and more poetry events um, for poets to showcase their work because poetry is growing. I mean, we just have to put it out there more. We have to elevate poetry more. But poetry is a way of life. I mean, just like how rappers talk about their express their lyrics through their rap form. That's the way poetry is. That's the way we write our poems. We expressing ourselves um through a lyrical way. We just don't have the beats to it, but it's the same thing. So I think poetry need to be um share more to the world, more showcases, more um, events, and spreading the word of poetry, bringing poetry to the forefront. I believe it's a
Do
I believe
you
it's an audience out there for it.
I think people love poetry. They love rap, they love poetry. I think, however, and this again, my personal opinion, poetry makes you have to think, especially poets who understand words. They understand wordplay, they understand figurative language, metaphors and similes and hyperbole, and they're
Mm-hmm.
using all of these type figurative language inside of their poems, and they're using words in their various meanings. They're using homonyms and things of that nature, and so people are reading it, and because folks just don't like to think anymore, it's like, what does this mean? But poetry requires you to read with your heart as well as your intellect.
Mm-hmm.
And the best poets require their readers to think as well as to feel. And I just don't think a lot of people want to do that. Do you participate in spoken word events?
I have before my book got published, I went to a spoken word event. They usually have a open mic spoken word festival in Rock Hill, and they showcase poets all weekend long. It's a weekend long event from I think it starts on Thursdays through Sunday, and normally during the summer months they happen in May. But yes, I do try to participate some, and then um we showcase some poets here in Aiken at our library here on every third Thursday of the month. So I try to attend those. Um, but yeah, it's more events that we need to have around here and just make it grow more, I think.
Right. So we have come to the end of our segment, and I would like to know if you have any upcoming events that you're going to be at that the people can come check you out and purchase some of your copies directly from you. Anything going on that you're going to be participating in during this holiday season?
Yes, I was invited to do some poems at one of my church events,
Okay.
and also High Notes of Poetry is going to be available in it's available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. booksamillion.com. You can visit my website, ebharrison.com, for more information and purchase it from Speak Up Sis Bookshelf. It's available there, and it's available on Unique Publishing Bookstore. So you can get your very own copy from either one of those places or from me. So, and I have some events coming up in 2025. Um, that I'll be participating in, and I will be sharing those on my website and on my Facebook page. So, um, yeah, I'm still pushing and still going and still moving forward, and looking forward to writing my next book as well. But still pushing high notes of poetry.
Excellent. Keep pushing high notes of poetry. And here on the Speak Up Sis bookshelf, we're going to continue pushing high notes of poetry as well. Again, I want to say thank you for becoming a Speak Up Sis bookshelf author and allowing your book to be listed on the Speak Up Sis bookshelf on our website. I also appreciate that you taking time to be on the Speak Up Sis talk show for authors and to share a little bit about you and let people meet you, as well as to talk about your book. Hello, Sandra Gamble. Thank you so much for tuning in and chit chatting with us today as well. Saniqua Renee, I want to make sure I don't leave anybody out. She says, yes, Tupac was an amazing poet. He absolutely was.
Yes.
Thank you all for watching today. Please, this is the best part of what we do here. The reason Speak Up Sis talk show for authors even exists is to support self-published and especially self-published Christian authors, because when I started writing, the hardest part about being a self-published author is to market and promote our work and to get people to understand that a self-published author can produce quality work worthy of people reading and paying.
Yes.
And so this platform is designed to support and solely support self-published authors and Christian authors. We do not carry works by the renowned or celebrities on Speak Up Sis bookshelf. Our Chit Chatting Books book club, we do not read books written by the renowned and celebrities because everybody's already doing that. This platform is designed specifically to promote self-published and especially Christian self-published authors of varying genres. So the best part of this platform is you purchasing a copy of our authors' work. Why? Because they work hard to produce their work. There's less than about a percentage, I believe, of people who have ever published a book. So becoming a published author is a feat all in itself, and to publish something of quality is even greater. So I welcome you, every single one of you who are watching, to go to speakupsis.com/bookshelf. You will see High Notes of Poetry. It is a beautiful cover. It's brown and gold. And I would like for you to click on that book cover, and it will take you to where author Ellen Harrison would like for you to purchase her work. If you are new to Speak Up Sis bookshelf or Speak Up Sis talk show, please allow me to say, we do not take any of the author's coins. We are not taking any of her money. When you click on that book, it is going to lead you to where she wants you to purchase the book. We do not get any affiliate money or anything of that nature. We simply created a niche space so that our readers will come to us to shop from our list before they go on to the other major platforms. So just in case you were wondering if I'm going to get some of her money, I absolutely am not. So it is okay for you to go to speakupsis.com/bookshelf, click on her book, and it will take you to where you can purchase her book from her. So that's what you can do today. And because it's the Holiday Author Showcase, purchase 2 books. one for you, and then get one to gift. I know you got a secret Santa at work that you got to get a gift for. I know you got stockings to stuff for Christmas. You've got presents to purchase. So why not give a gift that keeps giving? Give the gift of literacy. And she's holding up that beautiful brown and gold book right now. Get you a copy of High Notes of Poetry. Go to speakupsis.com/bookshelf and grab you a copy today. I want to thank you, author Ellen Harrison, for coming into this space. Thank you for trusting Speak Up Sis to list your book and to come share yourself as well as your work with the platform. I always allow my guests to have the last word. Can you share something encouraging for someone who is a poet and they're a little afraid about publishing their work? Can you share some inspiration and then some encouragement for that person?
Yes. I would say if God give you the gift, utilize it, because when he gives gifts and when we receive gifts, we are supposed to share. Our gifts are not meant to stay with us. Our gifts are meant to be shared with the world. So if you have that talent, utilize that talent, and your talent can bless yourself and also can bless others. So utilize your gift and share it and spread it with the world, because God gave it to you. Just like he shared himself with the world, we share our gifts with the world.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today on Speak Up Sis Talk Show for Authors, Conversations That Connect. You have been a perfect finale to the Holiday Author Showcase. And I want to thank everyone who is watching today for tuning in to watch Conversations That Connect. Thank you so much, Ellen Harrison. And I pray many, many, many blessings for you on this author journey and this poet journey.
Same to you. And thank you for having me. This was a great interview, great platform. Thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
And happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. I want to thank you all for watching Conversations That Connect. And I told you all I had a special thing that I wanted to share with you all, an announcement that I want to share. If you are a self-published author and you missed the Holiday Author Showcase, it's been good. You shouldn't have missed it. Worries. We are going to have a New Year Expo showcase. So those of you who missed this opportunity, if you would like to be on the Speak Up Sis talk show for authors, Conversations That Connect, for our New Year's Author Expo, then you will be able to go to speakupsis.com/bookshelf and sign up for that opportunity as well. We will have a Black Friday deal, and this $49 opportunity, we're going to run it again for the new year. This time, don't miss it. I would love to share you and your work for the new year. Okay, so by the end of the day, you'll be able to go to speakupsis.com/bookshelf and sign up to potentially be one of our authors on the bookshelf for only $49 for our New Year Author Expo. And with that, I'm going to say, have a happy holiday. Don't eat too much turkey, but give lots of love to everyone you meet. And don't forget, until next time, open up your